We've got about 15 minutes. So 14 minutes, yeah, quarter time when we start officially. So you've got time to use the restroom. Yes.
Sorry, we need where is their room?
I'm going to make room for you.
Okay.
Here we go, over here.
All right.
Is this row okay?
Yeah.
I'm just going to take out a couple chairs.
Suck it in, y'all.
That's right. Oh, hopefully good morning.
Good.
Hi, see you.
Good to see you. Hey, Bob.
Yes.
How you do? Good. Oh, I remember. I like it.
So you read this?
Yes.
I practically hope for this at this point.
Tell me, oh really? Tell me how.
Protest after protest after protest after protest.
I bet the characters' names. It's so important, right?
Yeah.
Tell me one.
I'm Cynthia.
I'm Jenny.
You know it's bad when your therapist and your church ladies, I'm pointing at that one in the back over there, are all at the same protest. This is bad. At that point, you know it's bad.
She was not
Absolutely. I think it is the faith community that's going to turn everything around. I really think it's the faith community because the more by talking, by joining, by engaging, by speaking up, by speaking when our voice changes, and engaging in organizations. One of the things that, and I'll probably talk about this again later, protests are super important. It raises awareness and it builds confidence. People who are more shaky, you know, like when they see those numbers of people growing and growing. But what really makes a sustained difference is being engaged in things like the organizations that we saw happening in taking breast milk to somebody who can't leave their house. You know, taking groceries and taking kids to school, or
You need Matthew 25
there. Yes.
And in one morning,
doing whatever it is that calls our hearts, engaging in that, just growing that little bit, doing a little bit more, and engaging with other people.
You never got married, no babies.
So this might be a strange question.
She's never told
I love strange questions.
talk about that.
I have a politics at this point.
I did too.
Because our esteemed leader, and I use that term very loosely,
She said,
literally almost started nuclear war last week.
And we don't know what he's doing now, but he's lost faith.
She said,
He is. He doesn't know what he's doing.
He doesn't.
Well,
He's just protecting his ego. And
Yes, he has convention.
miscarriage.
yeah. Well, and the fact that you had
The last one.
the fact that no one was Article 25 this man has literally this baby. So I was looking at Revelation when my therapist was actually watching the news before session where we were
in the house when they got
coming to the engagement, and I was watching her watch the news, and I was watching the news about the Iron Dome of Israel, and I was literally sitting there thinking, oh my God, this some left behind shit. This literally is some Kirk Cameron bad apocalypse left behind shit. And so I am on hair trigger of, forgive me for saying this, but do I protest in such with no peace, et cetera, or do I get mine and do we head for the hills? Like, head for high ground, this is going to be Sodom and Gomorrah.
Well, I was thinking of going far. I was thinking of heading for Canada.
It was just like it was just at the very end.
You know, one of the things two things. I don't think that's what's happening. I have a strong confidence that the people that do have power and authority are going, hi, how are you?
But she,
Oh, I'm so happy to see you. Oh,
Me too.
it's in that part she goes to
Yes, thank
the
you.
clearing. She's told herself.
So I don't think that's what happened. What's happening? I think that's a part of what they want us to believe, and they want us to be disempowered, so afraid that we're not going to take action. I think it inspires people to have that as a belief that this is Armageddon, and so therefore I'm going to encourage war and I'm going to encourage destruction. That's not. I don't believe that that's what's happening. I think it's a kind of a fear tactic and a control tactic that's being manipulated. This is my thought. You know, who am I? I'm just a special ed teacher, right? So. But it is my belief. It is based on evidence that I see around. But I also think that we are called to do what we're called to do, whatever that is. You know, and to feel that, to check in and see what is it that is mine to do.
Right. Teared up when I read it.
Yeah, because the other day I was this close to like grabbing mine and bugging out.
Well, yeah, I was feeling like on Tuesday last week.
Well, it's like,
are we on the edge of nuclear World War III? And I think that there are people in the government who would stop it. All of the generals of the military who have been displaced, fired, they will not go against their conscience. And there are others who are still in office who I think would stop it. I think it's true. I think they would stop it because I think they want their own grandchildren to survive.
Well, I mean, there's nothing to
But I think they want their grandchildren to survive with healthy food and safe water and protection. I think they and doing something so drastic. Thank you for asking that question because that gives me a little piece to because I have not gone there. Because I have a lot of that fear too, but I think that they want their own grandchildren to survive. So
we're not there yet. We're not there yet, but that was maybe me.
I know.
Good, that's good.
Okay. I think.
Like I said, we're not there yet.
I forgot. I gotta take care of something. I'm sorry.
She is some years.
Keep your eye on her.
I forgot her
Long time ago. That was 15 years ago.
I'm too good at nice vision.
Your name again?
Jenny Owen. Don says so.
Lord to me.
Yes. Dot was one of my first friends when my husband and I moved to our place 3 years ago now. What? All right. Happy to see you. How are you? Good.
I'm going to bring you a hard copy this morning.
Well, I saw it last night. I read it through. I sent a copy to me. A copier. I said, no, I have a hard copy. Anyway.
One more question, Mr.
Sure.
Chairman.
Yes.
Is it,
Should go okay.
there are a group of Christians for us,
I was
there's a group
wishing
of
I could
Christians
check
for
with you.
religious rights.
Yes.
And then there are my brothers and sisters who I help them, but I don't
Unless you want
see
to take it, but I
Yeah, no, I'm not.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm happy.
who tend to wear red hats and are trying to force Armageddon right now. Is it ours to de-escalate that? Because I haven't really happened.
Here's my first one. The answer that I heard heart and soul is be the Lord wants. Be in peace. Be the cousins of what Reverend Josh was just talking about, right?
Right.
That sense of peace and tranquility. And it's a hard thing to practice for us too. It's one of the reasons why I think we're in this, is to have our own practice.
Yeah.
So I will unfortunately lay down
My parents talks toxic narcissist that was also used as a crutch. So maybe people used to be children. I used to work with Chris as a teacher when she was in elementary school. And I think that as the seventh graders, they were when they were still sweet. I think everybody needs to be outside. So they were this time narcissism.
She has to find who's going to be asking some questions.
You know what? Actually, that seems likely to be the way it is. But that's
My friend Rob, you make sense like
So the second woman ever.
I saw you the other day. Tell me again.
Steve.
So
she's still on the same board.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Forum. Come on in, grab your seats. Love to see all the bright, shiny faces. It's a nice, beautiful morning out there. It's quite warm. Just some quick announcements. The next 3 weeks is, of course, our JWW series. Thank you, Jim White. And as we do every year in the spring, we kick off the first of the 3 weeks with our pre-discussion, as you all know, and so that'll start next week. We'll have Jim, of course, Lynn Stefanik, Charles Cascaras, and who am I forgetting? Mark Qualls will host that panel. And
I'm filling in for Jim now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, very good one. There'll be nice small group discussions as well as a talk, so you won't want to miss the first of the JWW weeks. And I'm going to turn it over to my team member, Meadow. We have some team members in Forum now. I have Meadow Robertson and Wendy Dante. And so I'm going to start sharing the load. So I'm going to let Meadow introduce our wonderful speaker this morning.
Good morning, everyone. Today we're speaking today, Jenny Owen. She's the co-founder of the steering committee of Indivisible Colorado Springs. She's a mother of 2 wonderful adult children who live here in the Springs as well, and a loving grandma of 5 wonderful grandkids scattered between San Diego and Pennsylvania. She is now a retired bilingual special education teacher. She loves traveling with Greece, Morocco, and India on the horizon. Without further ado,
Thanks very much. Yeah, traveling soon and continuously, hopefully, because joy is resistance, right? And so there's all that. Let me put this in here. Okay, yeah, is that good? So, hi, thanks for being here. I'm Jenny Owen, and I apologize in advance for reading this script because I can get pretty passionate about all the things that are happening in the world and all the things that we can and might be, we should be able to be doing to stop all of it that's going on. But if I went off script, I would not be able to get the big rocks in the jar. And you got to get the big rocks in the jar before you can put all the details in. So I'm going to try and keep myself on script. I want to get to the main ideas and also have plenty of time for all your comments and questions. So we're going to go ahead and dig in. Please feel free to ask questions and share your ideas throughout the presentation. And we'll also set aside some time at the end for more discussion and more questions and answers and stuff. But just let me know if something I say doesn't make sense or you have thoughts or ideas about it. If you disagree, if you want to share any of that, totally cool. So, first I want to thank First Congregational and Rob for the opportunity to talk with you today about Indivisible Colorado Springs and our place in the broader resistance at this time in America. I got to tell you, I'm still not used to doing this kind of presentation. I'm a retired special education teacher, I'm a mom, I'm a wife. I was a co-facilitator of the teen youth group at Unity Church for about 10 years. I learned so much from those teens. It was amazing and wonderful. I'm an introvert, but I've also been an activist since I was in early middle school during the Vietnam War and the time of the John Kennedy assassination. We learned that from my parents. During the 60s and 70s, I learned from them that there are good reasons to ask questions of our government and the media, and the powerful forces at work in our nation that aren't always telling us the truth. My father used to say, may you have the good fortune to not live during interesting times.
I'll drink to that.
Right? But then and now, devastatingly interesting times. Many of us wake up and look at the headlines in the news just to see if we still have a planet, to see if we still have a democracy, to see if maybe World War III has started. In the 14 months since Trump was inaugurated for this second time around, we've had shocking chaos on top of more shocking chaos almost every day. We have had the comings and goings of Elon Musk and Doge, which included the firing of all the federal employees, and the cutbacks in critical services like Medicaid and SNAP benefits, ending international programs like USAID, cuts at the National Institute of Health, the EPA, the Department of Education, right? ending DEI initiatives, clawing back pre-approved federal grants in scientific and medical research, and so much more. That's just the Doge part, right? That was a long time ago. It feels like ancient history, doesn't it? But it was all so important and painful. He fired the leaders of critical governmental agencies like in the FBI, CDC, the IRS, right? Thank you. FEMA, Library of Congress, Health and Human Services, which is where we got RFK, telling us what is right for our health and well-being. He's fired and replaced critical high-ranking military officials, the Army Chief of Staff. This is 14 months, right? He's been a busy man. He's fired the Army Chiefs of Staff and replaced them all with, loyalists. Chief of Naval Operations, Commandant of the Coast Guard, Vice Chief of Staff of the Air Force, Head of the National Security Agency and U.S. Cyber Command, Director of the Defense Intelligence Agency, Head of Army Transformation and Training Command, Army Chief of Chaplains, U.S. Military Representative to NATO. I've been at a conference recently in California where a JAG person who was fired for not being a loyalist talked about the generals walking out of the Pentagon in tears, 4-star generals walking out in tears, watching their pictures being taken off the walls of the Pentagon. He demolished the East Wing of the White House without congressional approval or federal review. He granted full and unconditional pardons to over 1,200 people convicted of federal crimes related to the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol. He has disobeyed 57 direct court orders. His non-compliance with this is a quote that I found, his non-compliance with judicial orders is considered unprecedented, with actions often labeled illegal or unconstitutional. He has increased the U.S. tariff rate. Of course, we know about that. That's more recent, ongoing, I guess. He has increased the U.S. tariff rates to nearly 47%, marking the highest level in over a century. He gave superpowers and superfunding to ICE. who terrorizes our immigrant neighbors, as well as the cities of Chicago, Los Angeles, Portland, Washington, D.C., and of course, Minneapolis. And who knows if it could be Colorado next. One of the things that we talk about is that Trump has reasons to dislike Colorado because of our gay governor, because of our attorney general, right? our attorney general, Bill Weiser, who he has filed 64 legal challenges against the President of the United States, and won a bunch of them. I think let's see, where did I say that? I got lost. That's okay, I'm gonna get there. He's doing the work of, reasons he doesn't like Colorado, and Tina Peters. He has not been able to pry Tina Peters out of Colorado prison because it's state offenses that she violated, and so he's got several reasons to kind of think about Colorado as one of the things that he can use as a distraction for all of the other things that he's doing. You know, I talk about it as Sauron's eye.
Right.
If Sauron happens to turn his eye toward Colorado, there could be concerns and risks, and Minneapolis could happen, Denver and here just as easily.
Right.
He's doing the work of Project 2025 and the White Christian Nationalist Movement. He's pulled out of international climate pacts like the Paris Agreement, as well as others. He's threatening to pull us out of NATO. Then there's the threats to acquire Greenland and Canada, and absconding with Venezuela's president. Mexico is concerned that they're going to be next. We have friends who live in Mexico, and they are very concerned nationally that once Iran kind of falls to Trump's back burners, that Mexico is likely to be next. And there's talk about he could take the stance of trying to take out every leader of every cartel. So what happened in Puerto Vallarta, which took about, the government of Mexico was induced by our government to take out the head of one of the primary cartels. That's what caused all the bombs going off, shootings and fires and things that happened for about 4 hours in Venezuela, in Puerto Vallarta. And then it all stopped, and our friends say everything is totally fine. Puerto Vallarta is fine, and it's fine across the country. But if we decide that we want to invade Mexico and kill every cartel member across the country, they're going to fight back, and it's not going to be 4 hours. Yeah. So that's one of the things that they're really concerned about, and watch for it in the news. Destroying all of our traditional international alliances. He's packed the Supreme Court and regularly bypasses Congress and ignoring the Constitution. There's the threats to our national media, higher education, and K-12 public education, collaborating with Israel in Gaza, which may end up as developed beachfront resorts over time. Together with Netanyahu and probably Saudi Arabia, he initiated the war in Iran, threatening the genocide of an entire civilization. And of course, then there's the Epstein files. So he's, one of the things I think is that he's using all of these escalating, crazy, chaotic things to distract from the Epstein files. So don't ever let us forget that. Right. The Epstein files. So what did I miss? That was a long list, but are there things that you know that I missed?
Canada.
Yeah.
You mentioned that. He's had eyes on Canada.
Canada, right?
The Forestry Service is.
Forestry Service, and
one of the more interesting things too is that they're trying to say basically anybody who's against Israel and their objective behavior in the Middle East are anti-Semitic. It's like a hard line thing where it's like stay with us or shut up.
Right. And trying to like oust people for having any kind of a voice on it, like deporting people for being in opposition.
Politicians are more pro-Israel than pro-U.S. right now. It's kind of a problem.
They're like putting his picture on coins.
And somebody said something recently about a new arch.
Arc the Triomphe.
But we don't have enough money for health care or SNAP benefits. And, Yes, Christine. I'm sorry, Cynthia.
Another thing that he did with the dismantling of DEI and the dismantling of the Department of Education. I don't know if anybody caught this, but the Department of Education is what helps with 504s.
Yeah,
504s
and IEPs. Yeah.
And IEPs are the things that help me and other people with special needs get educations just like temporarily able-bodied folk.
Yeah.
Without those available, there's no way, because we have bodies that work differently that can't do hours and hours of like multiplication tables and things like that.
Yeah.
And so with no overarching agency to make sure that teachers behave themselves, the next generation of kids with disabilities, forgive the expression, and in the house of the Lord, but are in deep what have you.
Right. So there is so much, right? I mean, honestly, if I think about it too long, it can, Reverend Josh's message this morning was so fabulous because it really spoke to my heart. Also made me cry. I can get so down and depressed and discouraged. We all do, I think. It can make me cry. It's overwhelming. It's constant, it's chaotic, and it's unspeakably, I couldn't come up with a better word than difficult. It's so deeply hurtful. So, going back to 2024, November, 2 weeks after Trump was reelected, when I came out of what I called my nauseated stupor, like many of you, I'm sure, I thought, I have to do something. I don't know what it is that I'm supposed to do, but I have to do something. So at that point, I sat down at the dining room table of our friend, Jan Erickson, who you may know coordinated the El Paso County mass mailings of 45,000 Get Out the Vote postcards, handwritten from this county to swing states, left-leaning, non-registered potential voters. She was my mentor and guru in how to take action to prevent all the things that are happening now. Well, as we know, in spite of everything everybody did across the country leading up to the 2024 elections, we still ended up with this outcome. So when I finally came out of that nauseated stupor, I sat down at Jan's dinner table with two other women, Muria Allen and Kathy Brandt, and we said, what are we going to do? What on earth are we going to do? We have to do something. 2 weeks later, after more conversation and a lot of research, and most importantly, Jan's suggestions, we settled on jumping into the framework offered by Indivisible. If you have not before, I encourage you to research the astonishing amount of support and information at indivisible.org. And if we have time at the end, I've got the websites, several websites pulled up that we can kind of skim through. Because the depth, breadth, and integrity of Indivisible's commitment to nonviolence and their use of clear, strategic actions to make real change, that's why we chose Indivisible. So for the next 6 weeks, we brainstormed, the three of us, and because Jan was taking some time off, well-deserved time off after that year of work that she had organized. But the next 6 weeks, we, the three of us, brainstormed, we planned our first meeting. We dove deeply into the indivisible.org website and all of its many resources. We developed the very loose framework and structure of our action teams. There were already we were already worried about so many things to protect. It was hard to narrow down to the basic umbrellas that then became the titles of our action teams. I'll kind of go over some of those a little bit later as well. We reached out to our good friend Loring Werble, who was and is the co-chair of Pikes Peak Justice and Peace Commission. We asked him, are we trying to create something that is already successfully being implemented here? Are we duplicating services? Are we distracting from the good work that's already been being done? And his reply was more or less this. Indivisible will be the only organization in town that focuses on the political landscape, on progressive voting, and on winning elections. The difference between Indivisible Colorado Springs and, say, the local chapters of the Sierra Club, World Affairs Council, ACLU, Lutheran Family Services, Colorado Springs Education Association, or even Pikes Peak Justice and Peace is the political power that we can activate. That's what Indivisible is about. So we kept brainstorming and organizing. We reached out to everybody we could think of to invite to that first meeting at Penrose Library. We thought we'd have about 50 people, and we ended up with 125. Nice. Eager souls, desperately searching in this community, like how do we find each other? Desperately searching for some place they could find like-minded people to get to work doing something. They too had to do something, and it still gives me goosebumps. The passion, energy, and depth of both despair and the depth of the desire to resist what everybody knew was coming. So in January, instead of the 50 or so people we thought we had 125. The next month, we had 500. Wow. Right, doesn't that show how much passion and purpose and focus there is in our community? Longer story short, we now have 1,200 people on our mailing list. So, what is Indivisible? Here are some things that this national website says. Indivisible was founded in 2016 by former congressional staffers who saw from the inside, as congressional staffers, how grassroots pressure shapes political outcomes. What began as a practical guide for civic action quickly grew into a powerful, people-led movement. Another thing it says on the website, our mission is to cultivate and lift up a grassroots movement of local groups to defeat the Trump agenda, elect progressive leaders, and realize bold progressive policies. Across the nation, thousands of local groups, there's now over 2,500 groups nationally. Thousands of local groups are using the Indivisible Guide, which is on the website, to hold their members of Congress accountable, our elected representatives. Another thing it says, we're organizing against the fascist clown show in the only way that actually works, with on-the-ground, volunteer-led communities of people power. And another, Indivisible provides tools, training, research, and strategic coordination so people can take effective action, whether that means protecting free and fair elections, stopping harmful legislation, or demanding bold solutions to the challenges we all face. We are committed to nonviolent action, multiracial democracy, and a government that is accountable to the people it serves. So that's from Indivisible National. Our local chapter's vision and mission statements say, Indivisible Colorado Springs is a grassroots community advocacy organization that empowers people to connect and create positive change through education, collaboration, and action. And our vision is to save democracy, safeguard inherent human rights, and fight for social justice.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
I know that nonpartisan was not part of the mission statement either. Is that because it goes without saying?
That's a great question. I think of Indivisible, and they're a 501c3, C4. Yes. They're a 501c4. I think that means that they have to be nonpartisan, and we want that, right? In Colorado Springs, there are, I think, 16% of Colorado Springs registered voters are registered Democrats. 16%.
It's more than
Is it 18? Do you?
no. I'll look it up. It's in the 20s or 30s.
Okay.
The majority is
Unaffiliated.
and then it might be in the 20s.
It's
Actually,
like, I think it's last, and I would be happy if that's
Yeah,
changed.
I'll look it up.
Thank you, Nancy. It's what I seem to remember is like 16%, but I'm sure I'm wrong about that. Thank you for correcting me. 29% are registered as Republicans, and the rest are registered as unaffiliated.
Furthermore, on the unaffiliated point, there was recently a verdict from Colorado Supreme Court saying that no longer can unaffiliated voters in elections actually vote Republican or Democrat. They're basically putting us down to having to pick one or the other.
Really?
Yep.
Can you summarize what he said?
Yes, Meadow, say it again.
So recently there's been a verdict. I haven't checked when the reasoning for the verdict come through. There's the reasoning pulled up in courts after that verdict has come down. But basically they're saying that no longer, if you're independent as a voter in Colorado, you can no longer vote either Democrat or Republican. You can
I
no
think
longer
that's
choose
only in the primaries.
I know in primaries you can't vote for either one. I hope that's not. Yeah, I would like that. Yeah.
You actually are correct. I'm sorry to say.
Oh.
So it's 28.71 Republican, 16.44 Democrat, 52.19 unaffiliated.
Yeah.
And then the remainder is all the other votes.
Yeah. So along with the question of bipartisan, absolutely. I mean, our intention is to talk morals and values and human rights and human justice, and that is not a partisan issue, or it shouldn't be. And I think that there are a lot of people who, I'm just filtering a whole lot of things, not took the poison, drank the Kool-Aid. No, I don't want to say that. A lot of people believe he was trying to do the right thing. Trump was trying to do the right thing for America. And I think there are a lot of people with buyer's remorse. And we want to be loving. You know, I was talking again with Cynthia about even Trump was a second grader once. He was a 5-year-old once. You know, like, he is the product of his environment growing up. We can, from a spiritual place, see him as a human being that is in agony and pain, and his say it again?
Very damaged, right?
Very damaged, doing a lot of damage in the world. We can see him with compassion and try and make connections with people who this is new to them, to be able to say, I am, like Reverend Josh said, I am having to walk away from my faith tradition because it no longer fits with my morals. So nonpartisan in that way, for sure. Good question. So at this point, we have 10 action teams: protecting democracy, international affairs, voting and election. Oh, I think it's 9. Voting and elections, civil rights and human rights, immigration and deportation, healthcare, environmental action, state and local government, and veterans issues. So those are the action teams we have, but it's kind of a fluid thing. If people come up with an idea that doesn't fit in that, and it has a bunch of people that are interested in taking action that way, we create an action team.
May I suggest a slight refinement?
Yes.
Protecting democracy. It's really protecting our constitutional republic to achieve democratic ideas.
I love that.
What does it mean to be a citizen of a constitutional republic such as ours?
Right.
So that's nuance. Language
Say it
is
again.
important.
Protecting the constitutional republic.
Yes, we have a constitutional republic
Yes.
to achieve democratic
Democracy.
ideas.
Thank you.
And so that constitutional republic is threatened by everything you say.
Yeah.
And some people mudge the things together.
You are right. Thank you so much for
So
that
I suggest
correction.
you refine that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah,
Can
Chris.
I add to that? I was at that meeting of 500 people when we were breaking into groups, and the Protecting Democracy came up, and these were ad hoc committees. And within Protecting Democracy, there's about 6 or 7 different subcommittees,
Yeah.
and some dealing with the Constitution, some dealing with abuse of power, others dealing with Congress or whatever. So it's a pretty active, fluid group. So don't worry about the title.
Thank you. So we have monthly whole membership meetings,
We have special guest speakers like Phil Weiser was one of our special guest speakers several months ago, or folks that can explain the caucus process to us, or people who can help us learn about vetting and endorsing candidates. Or last month we had Steve Schleicher, our El Paso County clerk and recorder, who helped clarify why our elections in El Paso County are reliable, verifiable, and safe. I walked away feeling very convinced and supported in having free and fair elections in El Paso County. And then also in our monthly meetings, action teams often report on their actions and their successes, their initiatives. Action teams typically have at least one monthly meeting on their own, and they all develop and engage in actions relating to their specific areas of interest. And those are, of course, tremendously important. The environmental team is working on trying to reduce the number of trash truck companies that are running around in our city making all of that diesel exhaust. That's important stuff. They're talking about the Nixon power plant, whatever that power plant was.
It's Nixon Coal.
Thank you. They're watching that. Those things are super important to do, but what's most important right now is connecting all of this work to winning midterm elections. Because here's the thing, whoever's in charge of Congress after midterms will be in charge of making the rules and enforcing the rules when it comes to 2028 presidential elections. So as a steering committee, we're now asking each team to see how they can connect the dots between their area of work and the midterms. So we're working on developing candidate debates and forums prior to midterms. After the June 30th primary, we'll be endorsing candidates and doing everything we can to help those progressive candidates win. Of course, we'll be working to support progressive candidates for the governorship and attorney general and the Senate seats. There are state house districts up for re-election and local offices as well, like county commissioner. And these local elections are really important too. When a state or federal office gets like 50 phone calls about something, they kind of shrug, right? But when a municipal office gets 50 phone calls about an issue, they take notice. They may even plan an emergency meeting. So, county commissioners, really important, all of those folks who are doing that local work. So, there's important work to be done between now and November. How much time do I have?
Half an hour.
Oh, awesome, I love that. So, but getting back to the big election that can have a big difference nationally. Our House District CD5, which basically encompasses all of El Paso County, has been identified for the first time as being vulnerable. Awesome news. District 5 was created in 1973 to add a Republican vote to Congress. It has been filled by Republicans ever since. A Democrat has never held the seat in this district, and it has now been identified nationally as a district in play. First time ever. So we at Indivisible are in the process of holding Jeff Crank accountable for saying yes to everything that Trump proposes. From the social safety net cuts in the big, beautiful bill, thank you, to the unprecedented expansion of sweeping deportations and aggressive ICE boots on the ground actions in American cities, to the war in Iran. Jeff Crank supports all of it. Crank's support for all of these unpopular Trump actions make him vulnerable. The caucus process narrowed down the folks who were running against him, and now we have two highly qualified competitors who will be running against each other in the June primary, Jessica Killen and Joe Regan. There are other things I could say about other candidates who were part of the caucus process. There were wonderful people who were working toward trying to be the best person to unseat Jeff Crank. Did you have a question, Meadow?
That was a clarification for earlier. Speaking of primaries, what I was referring to earlier was in fact with primaries.
Oh, okay. All right, good. So, and it's also possible to change, like if you care about voting in one of those primaries,
It is perfectly legal and doable and easy, I'm told, to change from unaffiliated to your party of choice, to vote in that primary election, vote, and then immediately after you can change right back to unaffiliated, and that doesn't affect your ability to vote in the national general election. So, great. I love confirmation or checking. So, Jessica Killen and Joe Regan, one of them will be facing Jeff Crank in the November midterms. He's got a lot of money coming in. You may have already seen commercials on TV for him. He's got tons of money coming in from across the country already. Democrats haven't even had our primary election, and he's already running a big, strong slime campaign. Oh, did I say that? Yes, I did. If this seat can flip, that changes the numbers in the House of Representatives. And if enough House seats flip across the country, well, we'll be in charge of our world, won't we? We'll be able to have at least that, if we can push through some corrections to some of the horrible things that have been happening so far, even in this year. So, what I'll leave you with, and this is Jenny talking here, not Indivisible. It goes like this. At the first No Kings protest, I saw a woman carrying a protest sign that said, "If Kamala had won, we'd all be having brunch." And I thought, that's funny. I love that. And it made me laugh, and indeed it was true. She was right. I so wanted to be having brunch instead of being so weighted down by all of the pain and all of the work that has to be done to protect and to save our constitutional republic. I wanted to be having brunch, but here's the thing. If Kamala Harris had won, we would all be having brunch. And that was not what was meant to happen. We would have been thinking, great, she'll take care of it, she'll take care of everything, everything's fine. But the thing is, everything is, oh, got it, thank you. Everything is not fine. It's not been fine for a long time. It's not just whether or not Donald Trump, as a person, had won the presidency. We now all know, nationally and even internationally, the depth and breadth of Project 2025 and white Christian nationalism and all those forces. We wouldn't have known so profoundly about the darkness that is driving this regime, because it's not just Trump. It's all the forces that breed and support him as the figurehead. And here's the aligned thought. If Kamala had won, she would have done everything she could do, but we would not have been awakened. We would have not been awakened, empowered, and viscerally desperate to take action. We are now awake. We now know how very important it is to take action and what happens when we don't take action. We're now motivated to defend our democracy. No, we're now motivated to defend our constitutional republic. Thank you, my friend. And defend our neighbors. We're now willing to speak out even if our voice shakes. Let me, the introvert. What we've got now is a compassionate, nonviolent, and progressive force rising with an intention to bring balance to our government. I've heard indigenous wisdom that says, we need the balancing of the wings of the eagle. Because for all of time, one competitive, aggressive, and powerful wing has been what has been in control. And that causes the eagle to fly in circles, not moving forward with the balance needed to fly straight and strong. I love that metaphor. We need that balance. We need that power. We're not trying to supersede anybody, but to bring balance and justice and equity. So, we need that balance. We need that power. And this is the time. It is my belief that this is the time in our evolution on the planet to bring balance. And it's going to take every voice and every pair of hands and every heart and soul. It's the time for us to be alive and awakened and action-oriented. I attend All Souls Unitarian Church right down the street where Reverend Ron Ferris is our minister. He gave a lesson about a year and a half ago before Trump was reelected about moral courage. The kind of courage that asks us to step outside our comfort zone and take some risk. This is the time for each of us to find our moral courage, to stand up and say, what is happening in the world is not okay with me. And to say, I have a voice and I have two hands and I will stand up and be counted as not participating in this violence that is overtaking us and threatening the world. So, in closing, there's a lot of ways you can get involved. Oh, and I wanted to pass this out. A lot of ways you can get involved.
I just need one from Jennifer.
You didn't get one.
Okay. There's a lot of ways to be able to get involved. You know what? Can I have one? Because I'm not my name. So there's a lot of ways to get involved. You can attend one of our monthly meetings. The information about that is at the top of this paper. You can sign up to get our weekly newsletter. Let's see, I wonder if this is maybe the right time to do this. Oops. Here's the newsletter. Am I showing it?
It comes.
Oh, good. Okay. So here's this week's newsletter that I'll show you how to get looked into.
I love that.
Right, isn't it? So there's tons of information in our weekly newsletter that goes out on Wednesdays. Tank Prank, support a stack of postcards. There's a ton of, there's Resistance Singers organization that's starting in town, and we practice and rehearse resistance songs like they sung in Minneapolis and some of the old protest songs from the 60s and stuff. That shows how you can get engaged in that. And there's the graduated income tax. There's there's a monthly social at Richard's if you want to have a glass of wine or a beer or a cup of tea and hang out with people and just have joy and fun and not have any work to do and just kind of talk together, meet each other. It's really fun. There's chalking that happens on sidewalks, like writing protest messages on sidewalks downtown. Anyway, there's a lot of things. Craftivism. A lot of things. What's that?
Craftivism is a thing?
Craftivism is a thing, right? All of those pink hats with the kitty cat ears happened from craftivists ages ago. It's still a thing, yeah. So anyway, there's that, and let's see. So here's our Indivisible local website that has our mission and vision on the front page, and the action teams and what they do. And it seems like some of them even have, this is maybe a button that tells more about what they're doing and their focus topics. That's like what we were talking about, yeah. So there are those teams and what they're doing, but also there is a calendar here under events that tells the things that are happening. If you want to know what's happening this weekend, for example, it'll generally be up there. We're always looking for volunteers and support folks, especially if you have, in all purposes. But one need is really about having enough human power to keep up with all the events, especially as we get closer to midterms. There are going to be so many more campaign events that need to be tracked. and publicized here. So there's that. There's also this one, when you click on midterms, this is a new page that we've just added recently in the last month or so. So each of these three things, events, candidates, and volunteer, are buttons. So you can see all of the campaign events that are happening right now. So if you have a favorite campaign or a person that you want to win, you can know when and where their events are. And also if you want to hear other people and their voices that are, and make your own assessment of, do I believe in this person or this person? Who do I think is going to be my favorite candidate? And again, in that terms, when you go to candidates, this hasn't been updated since the caucuses, but those who are running now is Jessica Killen and Joe Regan. You can click on that information, and it takes you to her website, and you can look up all of the things that you want to know about her, or Joe Regan, contact. It takes you to his website and his actions and his calendars. And you can that way compare and contrast belief systems. But there's also House districts and all those folks and what they believe, and Senate district, Tony Exum, the Secretary of State, Attorney General, State Treasurer, United States Senate. Indivisible has formally voted across the state to endorse Julie Gonzalez for the Senate position. She has a lot of very strong, competent beliefs and plans. And
so is that a policy that Indivisible is going to be endorsing?
Not all the time. We haven't endorsed anybody for like the CD5 because we don't want to create that kind of division.
Well, I'm up to this point. I was really enthusiastic. That really is the most.
Yeah. Tell me more. Help me understand.
Well, then automatically you've alienated a lot of people, and we haven't had all the discussions. One of my big things that I was going to suggest, my daughter kind of live in Marin and Sonoma, and they have a fabulous league, and their whole focus since Trump came in is stand up for democracy.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that they've come to understand, that we should all understand, is that the majority of people really don't understand a lot of things out there.
What is
and
a
as the
caucus?
former education librarian at the university, I can tell you one of the many times that I almost wanted to cry was when one of the teachers, just become a teacher, came to ask me. He was doing a presentation on Congress, and he knew who the Republican for House District 5 was, but he wanted to know who the Democrat was. And I said, the Democrat's the one who lost the election. He said, oh no, there has to be one from each party, and I am teaching about how Congress works. And I said, oh my God.
No, don't teach your children. Don't tell them that.
No, but it's really important for people to get involved, to sign up to be an election judge.
Yes.
To do those things, and you don't have to be, you can be partisan if you want individually, but not collectively, and I'm disappointed that Indivisible decide to do that, because you automatically lose a lot of people, and it's more the process. And it's very clear. I mean, Trump makes it clear all the time. Somebody asks him about what he thinks of the Declaration of Independence. It's clear he has no idea what it even was.
Right.
And so their whole focus is on trying to help people understand these fundamental parts of what makes us the kind of democracy or
Constitutional
republic that they want to
Yeah, I get it, and I don't disagree. One of the things that's really hard about all of this is trying to fit all the passionate perspectives and truths, because they're all true, under one umbrella. It is tricky, and we don't intend to alienate anybody, but we intend to flip people out of seats just to have a voice at the table.
It's supposed to work,
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
one of the things I'll always emphasize and always be very cognizant to speak on is that regardless of party, the money goes both ways.
Right.
It's good to vet who exactly is speaking on whose behalf, but recognizing exactly who's collectively backing them. Seeing as how, CNN is supposed to be the opposition media, but you'll find out very soon that the person who owns them owns everybody else.
That's right. Yeah, dark money goes into the Democrat Party as well, and that's painful. Yes.
One point of optimism is that, correct me if I'm wrong here, the number of seat flips since Trump took office for special elections is 20-0.
Oh my
Yes.
So there's been a huge margin.
It's fabulous. It's super important to be able to get the seat at the table so that we have a voice, so that we're not in this position that we are now. It makes me really sad to make compromises on things that are so important to me. But we have to get a seat at the table. And then we can make continued progress. But if we don't have a seat there to have the voice at the table, we're screwed. Yes.
Well, so to that point about seat at the table, and I'm glad you have a state and local committee, and absolutely I think the energy must be on midterms, but as soon as the midterms are done, we have a municipal election in April of 27. And we'll be voting on 4 city council members and 1 mayor. So you maybe take a week off, relax, enjoy the celebrate the wins, but then start paying attention to who will be running for those seats. We could change the face of city council in April of 27. It is a nonpartisan body, and yet unfortunately, it's really become quite partisan. But to this point of the seat at the table, we make decisions, of course, at that level. But we also appoint library board members. We appoint watershed district members. We have a lot of power that we need to distribute. And so it's not about voting for Republican or Democrat on city council. It's about voting for leaders who will listen and pay attention to the local. Like local it's the front line of our democracy.
And do I remember correctly that you and your progressive partner on city council are doing some like demystifying kind of talks about what city council is, what it does, and therefore you too can run for city council?
Yeah, we are doing that, and we just held a town hall in the city council chambers, just to learn about how an agenda is put together, how a meeting's run, how you speak, how to understand the process of city council. I will share with you that some of our fellow council members wanted to stop that because they were concerned about us being in chambers educating. So
go educate yourselves, be in resistance.
Educate yourself and pay attention. And if you want to run for city council, come talk to me.
Very good. Yes.
I'm sorry, that was my favorite council person. She's nothing like what you were saying. I was just at a kickoff meeting for a mayoral candidate, and having attended all of the meetings of Chris Hedges when he was here and spoke at church and at the university, my first thought was we are ending up with the 2 candidates for Christian nationalism, a Mormon and a very conservative Protestant Christian. I don't know,
that is now. Are you saying that's happening?
Those are our 2 candidates for mayor
right now. Is the deadline passed?
No, it hasn't. And there is another. Yemi's not the only candidate. Anyway, that was just a thought.
No, that's really important to know, and it's really scary.
Well, I disagree that Yemi's a Christian nationalist. Go to their debates and find out for yourself.
It surprised me. Yes, Lynn.
Jenny, I just want to thank you. I mean, thank you for those days after and time at Jen's table and for taking action and being here and leading us. And inside of Indivisible, I want to give a shout out to the national organization too. And being on the weekly calls with the national leaders of Indivisible is very gratifying and good for our souls. So I encourage that as well when you're cruising around on the site.
I thought I had that. I was just going to pull up. Okay, so here's the front page of the national website, indivisible.org, which is also on your paper there. And it's got all kinds of actions you can just click into. And I have been looking at this for this 14 months, and I have not found the end of the resources that are on here. If you want to start a group, and if you want to revitalize your group, and if you want to, let's see, what are some of the things here? Getting involved, taking ways to take action, campaigns that they are running nationally, how to localize or how to organize locally,
Volunteer to be an election judge and all those opportunities, because then you'll be able to explain it to other people.
Yes.
You know, things, standards.
I want to ask, who's some of this also is supporting businesses that align with our values. Who is the web vendor because I've watched the local Colorado Springs Indivisible page make enormous strides, and I'm wondering who's the folks who are doing your website.
I don't know, but I would love to get your information and I'll get back to you.
Yeah.
Our like web guru maven person is Leah Rackless, and I don't remember. She's said that so many times and I don't remember the answer, but can I talk with you afterwards and get your contact information? And I have business cards to share too. So anyway, group support, there's a group support hub, all kinds of tech tools and financial support. They get grants, grow grants and recruiting grants and things. And they also have, I'm just taking a moment here because there's so much information and so many,
Can I share? I think this is really fabulous, and I think in addition, I just want to highlight the local group called Reclaiming Civility. And I think even within Indivisible, as you've heard, there's a little tension even in this room around some things. And I would hope there would be. Actually.
Right.
And so there's a book called it has civility in the title, I'm forgetting, it's a national book, but the local organization called Reclaiming Civility is working to help us build the skills it takes to be civil. And that is being able to disagree in a respectful way. And it's not just being overly polite so I think in order for this to work, we have to work ourselves on how we show up with each other.
That is another form of diversity, equity, and inclusion, right? The trick has been to be the role model for that in this time when Glennon Doyle has a wonderful YouTube video about being boats in the river. We're all going in the same direction, but we're all in different boats. There's an LGBTQ boat, and there's a immigration and deportation boat, and there's a socialist boat, and there's Indivisible, a little more chill, but we're all going in the same directions, and our job is to not throw rocks into each other's boats. Our job is to not topple all of those boats. We're all going in the same direction, and we're supposed to be saying, go, 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 keep going, keep doing this, but we're never going to be alike each other. We're never going to be a twin of each other. There's always going to be that level of conflict, and civil discourse is a way that we can get back to diversity, equity, and inclusion, and being those role models for that.
I have a friend who is actually going through this thing right now called Neighborhood University. And it is
what university?
Neighborhood University.
Nice.
And it is a school, if you will, that teaches about neighborhood politics and what everything is and how everything works, so that she can then come out and teach others and so on.
It's happening across the country in the shadow, or not in the shadow, in the brilliant light of what happened in Minnesota, in Minneapolis and St. Paul. They created this thing or at least maybe the phrase was coined, neighboring, being the people who will stand by each other in our neighborhood and take care of each other if all hell breaks out.
I think what she's talking about is what used to be called KONO, and is now called Hey Neighbor. And it's focused on neighbors in Colorado Springs, and they have a neighborhood university that explains how council works and how council is different from the county commissioners. Something at which you might learn that the head of county commissioners and the mayor were meeting regularly, but the city council didn't know that. We learned a lot about what's going on.
That would be a wonderful monthly meeting to have an organization like that present and talk about that and highlight that kind of organization. I'm going to quickly pop to the other websites here. This is 5051 Colorado Springs. if you want to know other organizations that you may want to engage with, that pulls at your heart and you want to volunteer in those kinds of things, there's all of these places where people seek support and more. And then there's also other organizations that are listed here for offering mutual aid support systems to our community. Lots of places that you can go and volunteer. Crossfire Ministries is amazing. This is El Paso County Progressive Vets. They meet maybe every month or twice a month to have lunches and sit down with each other as veterans who are tremendously dissatisfied with what is happening in our nation. And they take their actions and do their work. And it's beautiful. And Bridge Brigade is, I kind of just popped the map here so that you can see. Bridge Brigade, if you have driven on I-25, generally on a Tuesday, there's the signs that are up there that say things like "Their war, our kids," or something like that. And so they have all these alphabet letters. You don't have to bring anything, you don't have to do anything but come up and maybe dance and wave at the people who are driving by. Because you'll meet great friends. I mean, people who are doing this work, that's one of the things that has been most powerful and most lovely in all of this is the people that we meet and engage with. So Bridge Brigade happens right by the pickleball courts. We're west of the Fine Arts Center. I don't know, so I take the
That brings us to our hour.
right clue. Thanks for joining the conversation. It's time to join the work and the fun of being part of this resistance. Together we can save democracy. We really can.
Yeah.
Yes, we can. But it's going to take every voice and every voice. So thank you. I have business cards for joining our mailing list and for communicating with me. Thank you.
Thank you, Jenny.
Yes. Yes.